Hey guys, my name is Eli. Um, Artistically, or my stage name is Eli Torado because I do music. And honestly, what we're going to talk about today is nothing to do with music. And the thing that I do want to touch on is mental health. Me personally, I deal with stigma surrounding mental health, and I advocate for it very, very much so because I've come to find that those who struggle with the stigma surrounding mental health are constantly put down. They're constantly labeled incorrectly or very negatively, and then cast out as lepers. If you look nowadays, you can start to see that as these numbers grow and as people begin to be identified or begin to be labeled um, as manic depressive or as psychotic, or maybe those are sociopathic. As these labels start to come out and these diagnoses start to form, um, you start to see how they become cut off by society, and it's an interesting conundrum for me, honestly, and it's something that I'm very passionate about. If you are watching this video and you deal with anything, whether it's depression, whether it's bipolar disorder, whether it's post traumatic stress, even if you're just dealing with stress and anxiety, I want you to know something. You matter. And if you're listening right now, if you're watching right now, I want you to know that people care. I want to thank you for waking up this morning and getting out of bed and taking a step, because that's the first step toward wholeness, and that's the first step toward toward your future. And although you feel like there's no future to be had, there is. I want you to know that you're not alone. I deal with a lot. I've been diagnosed with quite a bit, and to be honest with you, those things do not define me as a person. They may be roadblocks that I deal with, but that wouldn't be any different than somebody that deals with diabetes, or with somebody that deals with something that physically debilitates them, in a sense, because they still get to live a life. And honestly, you need to know that you're loved regardless. I want to walk and I want to talk with people that feel and know that they are imperfect. I want to touch on a word today, and it's a funny word. It's a word that I've been called like almost my entire life, and it's savage. I looked up the definition of it, and savage was labeled as a fierce, ferocious, or let's see here, brutal, cruel person. And that's funny because in our formative years, that's pretty normal, right? Like we were very, very fierce creatures as babies, where we would cry or throw a tantrum whenever we felt uncomfortable, or whenever we were tired, or whenever we were hungry. But as we grew and we developed as people, we learned how to communicate better. We learned how to speak. We learned how to convey our emotions or thoughts. But then I saw a second definition to the word, and it was an uncivilized person. So I looked up uncivilized, and uncivilized is a people or place not considered to be socially, culturally, or morally advanced. So that means that if you are dealing with depression or anxiety, then you are not you're not culturally or emotionally advanced enough to be considered normal. So we're using this word, right? It's gained popularity. Hashtag savage, right? Because people who are sarcastic or people who are brash, like that's just the name that you're called. But the thing is that people are really trying to hold you down, and people are trying to kind of cast you out as something that's lesser than. Look, guys, If you feel like you are all good to go and you are like the world can't stop you, good for you, and more power to you. But when people feel hopeless and alone and they feel like nobody understands, trust that I do and I'm with you. And if you feel like you have got nobody to talk to, here I am. Here I am, guys. The whole point of this here is to let you know that somebody understands what you're going through. Somebody understands where you've been. The next couple of weeks, I am going to unpack some of these things, and I want to talk and walk with you guys, and I want to raise awareness at the fact that mental health is a very, very important topic. And honestly, if you're going to use the word savage as a badge of shame or a put down, then we're reclaiming it today. Because when we looked at the first definition at a fierce and brutal person, please believe that once we've come to the place of wholeness, once we've come to the place of healing, we are going to be a fierce and brutal force of nature. Stronger and bigger than we've ever been before. And we will take over the world with positive change. And sometimes, if it takes a little bit of crazy to bring about a change, I say let's do it. Look, it's important that love is expressed at all times. It's important that empathy and sympathy is expressed for those who feel like they don't have the strength to go on. Something that bothers me, I guess, in the vein of civilization, is that people who are civilized tend to stick their nose so far up in the air that they don't realize that the same ground or dirt that they inhabit or walk on are the same ones that are holding up the broken, the bleeding, and the hurt. If you would just take some time to look down and see your peers eye to eye, then you'd understand that we're all on the same level. So if you feel like you need to pick me up, if you feel like you can't do this on your own, walk with me, talk with me next couple of weeks. I just wanted to introduce myself and introduce my cause. And I cannot wait to start talking about some of these subjects like depression, bipolar disorder, and anxiety, just to name a few. My name is Eli, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend, a wonderful rest of your day. God bless, stay safe, stay sane. Welcome to Savage Sunday.